What qualifications did I get at school? Well, it was all obviously different when I was at school, but I got 1 O level, which has obviously changed now. Whatever that means in the terms of now, I do not know, which I got for physical education. And then I got GCSEs in maths, English, geography, chemistry, and I think there was one more which was like technology. And I'm going to be honest, I was meant to go back and collect them and I never did. So I was quite happy to leave school when I did. How much do I charge for a suit? And if it was same day, so we do a same day service here. So for a suit, it's £10. For a 3-piece suit, it is £13, unlucky for some. Right, where do I go to get my hair cut? Right, well, that is taking the Michael as far as I'm concerned, but I'll go to my mate Melvin the barber. He's Turkish, down in Cheshunt. I go every Friday, believe it or not, like, you know, and he does me a deal. What's my favourite music band and all that, like, you know, I did like U2 in the day, gone a little bit sort of gospel and all that now, so but definitely in the 80s and 90s they were up there. Oasis as well was one of my favourite bands. Not really got a favourite, like all sorts of music to be honest, so but they're the sort of ones. Madonna was quite good in her day as well. Who did I play for in my career? Obviously started off, I don't know if I can say it really, can I? Started off playing when I was a kid at Spurs. Then from there I went to Hendon. From there I had a little spell at Cuffley. From then I went to Waltham Abbey, Cheshunt, Ware, and then had a long spell at St Margaret's, and finished up at Hertford. Pornhub or RedTube? Question dismissed. Tennis question, who do I prefer, Rafa Nadal or Roger Federer? I am a Nadal fan, if I'll be honest, so it would be him. But my favourite tennis player of all time, because he was bald, Andre Agassi. How much would woodchuck chuck, woodchuck chuck? I haven't got a clue. Should Arsenal use more English players like Liverpool and Spurs? Well, we've gone down that route a little while ago with Gibbs, Chamberlain, Walcott. Also, you'd have to say Chambers, you know, even though Welbeck, and it hasn't really worked, you know. So I don't know. I think you've got to get a mixture of both. I think when we was successful, like in the double sides and early like the 1980 side, we had a backbone of English defenders. So I would probably go down that route of looking for some good central defenders and build from there. Would I trade Jack Wilshere for a Spurs player? Well, for another midfield player, no, I wouldn't. You know, you would say Christian Eriksen would be a good addition, someone like that. But I'm a Jack lover, so no, I wouldn't. Would it be outrageous to get Glenn Hoddle back as England manager? Listen, when I have to say that in the '98 team, when Glenn Hoddle managed that, that was probably one of our best teams that we've had in the World Cup. And because he's to do with Spurs, didn't really matter. I thought he was a very, very good manager. Listen, when he's on TV now, I have to say that I think he's very, very good. Would it be outrageous? No, I think that everybody that talks about him with glowing references. Ian Wright reckons he's one of the best managers that he's ever played under. So the route that we're going down now with Sam Allardyce and Gareth Southgate, you know, I would certainly think bringing back Glenn Hoddle wouldn't be a bad decision. This is a question from Claude. I don't know, do we know Claude? I think we do. So, and his question is, who would I sell, Ramsey or Ozil? So he makes it quite difficult. It is a good question, to be quite honest, Claude. If I had the choice, I would sell Ozil, but hopefully we don't have a choice and we keep both. So it is a hypothetical question, this. So if I had to sell one, it would be, unfortunately, Mesut Ozil. Do I think it was a mistake selling Szczesny? Well, my mate Craig Scott would definitely agree with that. He would, well, he's still upset about it now. Look, just because he's #1 at Juventus, you know, I don't know. It depends who they get. Like, I felt that when we got Czech at the first, it was a good move, but looking back on it now, I think that I'll never understand why they put him out on loan for a couple of years and then sell him. You know, why didn't they just sell him straight away? And so I think hindsight's a wonderful thing, but looking back on it now, I believe it is a mistake, yes. What do I think about owners coming in and ruining the clubs, which like Blackburn and Blackpool, name but a few. They're supposed to be regulated now, which doesn't seem to be working. You know, Leeds United, one of the biggest clubs in this country, have gone through it as well. I think that, you know, ownership is a worrying thing. We've obviously got our own problems at Arsenal, not to the what I'd say, like where it's going to actually ruin us financially, but you know, I don't think it's a good thing. But certainly for the smaller clubs, that Blackburn were a fantastically run club back in the 90s, and you know, Blackpool, it wasn't long ago when they was in the Premier League. I think it was the same owners, I'm not sure, but definitely the regulation should be like more scrutinised, obviously, because you know we don't want to see clubs going out of business or anything like that. Luckily, that's not happening at the moment, but if it's let to go on, it could happen, and we don't want to see that. Do I think that Abramovich is going to get bored of Chelsea and pull out, and what would that do for Chelsea as a club? Would it? They are debt-free, I understand, but they do owe Abramovich a lot of money. I think that if push come to shove, I don't think Abramovich would want that money back. Where would I see Chelsea in the future? Well, simply, you know, where they were before Abramovich come about. You know, they was always pushing top 4, top 6. Personally, and I don't mean to upset Chelsea fans, they're not as big as Arsenal and Spurs when it comes to the biggest clubs in the country, and certainly in London. The reason that they've got their power at the moment is because of the Abramovich money. Do I think that they go bankrupt? No. Do I think that they get a new ground? No. If Abramovich pulls out, you know, the question is he getting bored as well? You know, I don't think he's getting bored, but you know, look, when you're a football supporter, it's ingrained in you when you're young. You know, we're going through a bit of a bad time at the moment, but it was never going to stop me supporting Arsenal. You can't, you know, you don't really know how he actually feels about it, but it does seem that they're not as powerful in the financial market as they used to be. Hence, that is why they're 5th in the league this season. It'd be a very interesting summer for them this season to see what they're going to do. But if Abramovich pulls out his money, then we'll see Chelsea, you know, in that bracket with Everton and hopefully Spurs. Zinedine Zidane's goal in the Champions League final or Gareth Bale's goal this season in the Champions League final? For me, it just has to be Gareth Bale. I think it was a fantastic goal, and also it's better than Ronaldo's one, so Gareth Bale for me. What's the favourite sponsor on the shirt from Dreamcast, JVC, Fly Emirates or O2? Well, sentimental, old school I'm afraid on this one there. JVC for me all day long. Who had a better season for Liverpool, Suarez or Mo Salah? Cool, that's a tough question, that. Who had the best season? Both fantastic players. I would have to go Mo Salah, just for what he's done this season was sensational, so Mo Salah. Should they bring back the golden goal in extra time? No. Awful, awful. Do I think Argentina will challenge for World Cups when Messi's gone? Do you know what? I honestly think they will, because I think they rely too much on Messi. So my answer to that is yes. Do I think Gareth Bale's got a future at Real Madrid? 5 days ago I didn't think he did when Zidane was manager, but now Zidane has left, I do see Gareth Bale staying, because one, I think that probably he'd still want to play there. Two, financially, to get him out of there is going to be very, very difficult. If he was to come back to the Premier League, I think, you know, forget about, you know, that he played for Spurs. I think he's a class player, and will always tear it up in the Premier League. Who are the best three players I've seen in the Premier League era? Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, part of me is going to say Ronaldo, but I'll tell you what, for the third one, I thought he was sensational when he was at Manchester United, and I hate Manchester United, but I always liked him, and that was Eric Cantona. Who would I rather sell, Welbeck or Perez? I'd have to say I would prefer to sell Perez. What's my views on the MK Dons? Are they still a franchise? Well, to be honest, I'm not a real MK Dons man. Being born in Wimbledon, always had a little bit of affection for Wimbledon A.F.C. So, but are they franchise? It's a difficult question. I'm a big believer of like teams being brought up in those areas. They're doing okay, but franchise or not, I'm not really that bothered. Who do I think would be the best manager out of DT, Troops, Robbie and myself? Well, I'm going to straight away diss Troops, because the players wouldn't be able to understand what he's saying, so he's out. There would be anarchy in the dressing room with DT as manager, because of, you know, there'd be a definite half in, half out fraction with who like him and who don't, so it just wouldn't work as a manager, so he's out. So that means it's out of me and Robbie. And I just think that, yeah, it's me. So next week, as it's World Cup coming up onto us, so we'll be doing World Cup questions. Any questions you want on the World Cup, I'll be looking to answer them. So don't forget, leave the questions in the #AskTheJudge, and we'll see you next week.